Step out of the car, now. Darryl James barely had time to blink before Officer Brent Wallace yanked the car door open and gripped his arm. Traffic was light on Route 71, but the humiliation burned hot. Darryl hadn't been speeding. He hadn't even rolled through a stop sign. His only crime seemed to be driving a dusty Honda while black, wearing a simple gray button-up and khaki slacks. Wallace sneered as he scanned Darryl's ID. Delivery driver? That's rich. Maybe next time try not to act suspicious just by existing. The other officer chuckled. A dashcam blinked silently as Darryl was pushed face down onto the hood. His service medal, a worn bronze coin on a keyring, fell from his pocket and rolled to the pavement. Looks like someone's pretending to be a hero, Wallace smirked, kicking it aside. People walked by. No one stepped in. Someone filmed but kept their distance. Darryl didn't resist. His hands were steady. His mouth stayed shut. But his eyes locked on the officer's badge like a man memorizing a name he'd write on a report. He sat quietly in the back of the cruiser, cuffed and bruised, as Wallace gloated, "Hope your little manager hears about this." Darryl's answer was calm. "She will." He didn't raise his voice, but someone heard it and made a call. In the narrow holding room, Darryl sat on the cold metal bench, wrists still bound. The cuffs bit into his skin, but he didn't flinch. Wallace swaggered in with a fast food soda and dropped it loudly on the table. "No fries for you, just questions, if you even know how to answer them." Darryl said nothing. Instead, he reached slowly into his pocket, producing a folded photograph. It showed a young black woman in FBI uniform saluting beside him at Quantico. Wallace laughed dryly. "Nice Photoshop. You print that off at Kinko's?" But the laughter faded when a radio crackled. "HQ, we've got a situation. Multiple black Suburbans pulling in. They're not local." Outside, tires screeched. Darryl's eyes stayed on the photograph. A younger version of him smiled back in the picture. One with less gray. One before the system tried to break him. His wife's voice echoed in memory. "Don't let them take your dignity, D." He'd been offered a promotion once, turned it down the day after his wife died, denied care by an ER nurse who didn't believe she looked sick enough. Since then, Darryl never wore his full credentials. He watched and waited.
The door burst open. Wallace turned. Too late. A woman in an FBI jacket entered, badge raised, eyes blazing. "Get those cuffs off him, now!" Silence rippled through the station like a detonation. Uniformed officers stood frozen as FBI agents swept through the room. Wallace stammered, What's going on here?" Darryl stood slowly. One hand adjusted his sleeves, the other dropped a laminated badge on the table. The room stilled. Wallace stepped back as the name printed in bold stared up at him. Darryl James, Federal Internal Affairs Investigator. He didn't shout, didn't gloat, just looked Wallace dead in the eyes and said, "I'm not here for revenge. I'm here to fix what people like you have broken." Behind him, Agent Doyle nodded. "He's been undercover 3 months. You just gave us everything we needed." The same keyring Wallace had kicked now glinted under the harsh fluorescent lights. Darryl picked it up, ran a thumb across its worn surface, and walked away. He paused at the door, turned once, and added quietly, "Don't apologize to me. Apologize to every man you laughed at and didn't see." No applause, no music, just a hallway echoing with footsteps and shame. Darryl James didn't win by shouting. He won by standing still while the system unraveled around him. His silence wasn't weakness, it was strategy. It reminds us that sometimes the most powerful response is quiet dignity in the face of loud injustice. If this story left something with you, let us know in the comments. And subscribe for more stories that speak even when words fall short.